We saw a rare upset last week. Bernadette Nutall lost her race for re-election to the Dallas ISD school board. She was a fixture there for almost a decade, but voters overwhelmingly chose Justin Henry instead. He's a father of two, a former teacher, and now an attorney who is in studio with us this morning. Good morning to you. Congratulations as well.
Thank you. Good morning.
The board hasn't had the votes. The main thing that I guess voters want you to tackle is this tax ratifying election. They want you to get this, let them decide, voters decide on whether to raise taxes. You might be the final vote that's needed. Here's the deal, though. I don't want my taxes raised. Why should I support this?
And I agree with you. I mean, many of us don't want our taxes raised, but it comes down to a decision. I think we have a broken finance system at the state level in Austin. We're not going to get any additional resources. It's unlikely. Historically, year over year, they've given us less and less money. So it's very frustrating that us locally have to deal with that issue, but there's a lot of great programs happening in DSD, whether it's early childhood education. We passed a comprehensive racial equity policy last night at my first board meeting. So these great programs that are working for our kids, we can't expand them without additional resources. So I don't think anyone wants to raise taxes, but we're at a point where we have to make a choice. You know, are our kids worth 13 cents?
And let's talk about that, Justin. This is a 13-cent tax increase per $100 of your property value. It will include teacher pay raises, the way I understand it. Is it fair to put that on the voters?
And that's part of the discussion we had last night. I think it's very important that we compensate teachers. It was a very important part of my campaign. You know, I really think we need to elevate the teacher profession and provide them and compensate them and reward them the way they deserve to be treated. So, you know, I think whether it's fair or not, we need the resources to continue a program like that. So is it possible is a bigger question. We had a discussion last night. How else do we provide teachers with more compensation without bringing a TRE before the public? So
here's something that kind of perplexed me. The board passed the $1.5 billion budget expecting voters would approve this new tax in November. What happens if they don't approve it? You guys have already worked that money into the budget, haven't you?
If it doesn't get approved by the voters, we have to go back to the tax rate we're currently at, and they're going to have to readjust the budget. A lot of those things that we talked about are going to have to be removed. It's up to the administration ultimately, right? But the teacher compensation, the Office of Transformation Information, these new schools that we're seeing, these Montessori schools, these single gender schools, a tag dual language school, these schools that, you know, parents are really wanting for their kids, we're gonna have to roll back and scale back how we do that. And other initiatives that the district's focused on, strategic initiatives, will have to be cut back if we don't, you know, take this before the voters and they agree that the TRE needs to be passed. One
headline about you last week said that you have an appetite for change. What do you want to see changed immediately?
Racial equity is one, and I chaired the Racial Equity Task Force about 3 years ago, and we didn't feel like we had the political will on the board, so we disbanded that committee. But here a few years later, last night at my first board meeting, the board, consensus 9-0, passed a comprehensive racial equity policy, which means the schools and the kids in our district that have the highest needs are going to get more resources. So when you have kids dealing with trauma or social, emotional, or don't have an AP teacher, for example, we're going to organize at the district level to give them the resources they need to get where they need to be. So that's very important to me, that I'd like to hit the ground running. But then there's also the community aspect. We really want to engage. Our motto in this campaign was opportunity for all, which means we want to get as many folks engaged in this city around public education as possible. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Well, congratulations to you, Justin Henry, the new Dallas ISD trustee for District 9. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.